Good morning, traders. Scott G with the Simple Trading Life. Welcome to our YouTube live stream. Let me get my screens pulled up here. Give me 1 second. Get to our screen share. Okay. Going live just a couple of minutes early here today. We'll let some folks join us and then we will get started. So give me 1 second. I bring up the chat on my phone. And then that way I can read your comments without having to switch back and forth. Okay, there we go. Got the comments up. Let's go ahead and, as normal, we'll start looking at ES. Okay, the S&P. E-minis, as you can see, we are already moving to the downside. This purple line, this purple dashed line is where we opened. Okay, that's where we opened the market this morning, and that price was 26.2250. So that was the opening of this first 30-minute candle. You can see it right here. And currently we've been down to test the 25.7550 level. You'll notice we did gap up above the trend line. Okay, we had been respecting this trend line on the way down. I'll show you here in just a second. Let me squeeze the chart in, and you'll be able to see. So if you notice this trend line here, actually I probably could have extended it right up to there. So from here to here to here, right here, and then again we were coming back up to it. So we poked our head above it this morning, and now what we're going to do is obviously we're going to see, are we able to hold it, or are we going to reclaim into the downward channel, so to speak. Right now, obviously, we're putting in a red candle. Over here, our advancers are at 26.31, which is extremely bullish. But those of you who have joined me on the live streams before, you know that that number can be deceiving. This is one of those mornings. Pretty much everything in the market, except maybe a few names, gapped up significantly. And we'll be taking a look at a few of those here in just a second. But when that happens, okay, when everything gaps up, unless they pull all the way back and fill the gap, they'll continue to show as an advancer all day long. So even if the price action is negative, like you see right here, okay, even though that price action is negative, until a gap is filled on some of these other names that we'll look at here in just a minute, then they're going to be considered an advancer. So we'll keep an eye on that. Excuse me, I'm having a little coffee this morning. I was up late last night, both doing a little bit of trading in the Forex market. We'll talk about that on this live stream today. And I had terrible heartburn last night, and it kept me awake. So I only got a few hours of sleep last night. So Grayson's asking, what was the reason for the gap up? Well, it's just basically the strong move that we had up overnight. We actually limited up, which means they halted the market. We went up by 5% in the overnight session. So that is the rule. You limit up or down by 5% during the overnight, and they halt the trading. And so that's what happened. Right here, we hit 5%. So from down here, actually, give me 1 second. It was, okay, this candle over here is what they base it on. So it's the 4 o'clock candle Eastern time or 3 o'clock Central time where price ends. If you make a 5% move up or down from that level during the overnight session, they halt trading. Okay, so you see this big move. We actually went down. Everybody thought that we were just going to totally lose it last night. We got down to 23.93.50, and then bam, all this huge run up overnight. So Grayson, to answer your question, that's why everything else is gapping up as well. They're just following the market. All right. So let's go ahead and look at a few names. And we're going to jump around like we always do. And we'll look for different things. Okay, so here's Apple. Gap up, selling off. All right, but it's got to get all the way down here before that would be considered not an advancer. So price could come all the way down here and still it would be considered an advancer. That's why this number can be deceiving. All right, it has to take out yesterday's close before it would be taken off of this list over here. Okay, AMD, big gap up. Okay, they ran it right up to resistance. Ran it right up to resistance and then brought it back down. It's sort of settling in just underneath the 20 SMA. The blue line on my charts is the 20 simple moving average, and the green line is the 200 simple moving average. And we'll talk more about those as we go along. Welcome. I see we're getting some more folks joining us. We're just kind of going through some names right now. As always, if there's anything specific somebody wants me to look at or something they want me to explain, just type it into the chat. I've got the chat up on my phone right here so I can watch it. If you have a comment about anything, while you're here, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and then obviously turn on the notifications bell. That way you'll be notified anytime we go live or anytime we upload a new video. Okay, so here we are on Amazon. Again, same pattern. Gap up, tried to poke its head up, and then it's been selling off. Probably going to see this on a lot of names this morning. Okay, here's Boeing. Gap up, selling off. Okay, you see what's causing the resistance there is the 20 simple moving average. Good morning. Good morning, Jose. I will definitely look at Tesla. In fact, I'll get to it here very shortly. In fact, Asta is also asking for Tesla. Okay, so I'll get right to Tesla. Let's go right there right now. It's obviously on my list that I look at every day. Okay, gap up. Tried to poke its head up and then has been selling off. So we opened at 595.06 and we're currently at 564, so already down $30 on Tesla. And right now it doesn't look like it's stopping. 557.65 and 545.71 are the next levels below. Those are support and resistance levels. For anybody who's new, we can talk more about those as we go along. Hey, Sonny. Nice to have Sonny here. Sonny is in our Simple Trading Life community. He actually just joined the premium service today. We have both a free chat room and we have a premium service. So if you go to simpletradinglife.com, you can either join either one. So you'd either click on the free chat room button and you'll be put into the free chat room. And then if you're interested in our premium service, there's a button for that. It just says premium. You click on that, follow the instructions, and you can be a part of our premium service, which we just launched this week. It's going very well. Okay, so Tesla, as you can see, still selling off, down to 562, 562.90. Again, for those of you just joining us, it opened at 595.06, so it's down about $33 already after the big gap up. So we'll come back. Before I leave, I'll look. All right, so if it would make through both of these support and resistance levels, these support levels, the next one down would be 507.87. As you can see, we're almost down to the 557.65 right now. We're only $3-4 away. So we'll keep checking in on Tesla. In fact, let me do this. I'll set an alert underneath this second support level. And if it gets below there, we'll get alerted and we can come back. Haha, premium gang, hashtag premium gang. I see that, Grayson. All right, so since we're here, we'll just look at Walmart. Okay, Walmart, just like everything else, gap up. As we talk about each time we're on a live stream or when I'm live in the room, look where they gapped it up to. Right to a resistance level, bam, just sold it right off. Then it came down to support, caught a little bit of support, bounced up, and now it's still moving down. So it opened at 108.53. It's currently at 106.59. That's Walmart. Twitter, same kind of deal. You see they opened it here in between the 20 and this resistance level, and it's just been a straight sell-off. Didn't even try to poke its head up. Just selling off. Opened at 28.82, and it's currently at 27.18. Tilray, this is one of the weed stocks. This thing, I was joking around on our last live stream that pretty soon this name's going to get delisted. It might not be a joke before too long. I want you to look at this. I'll go to a higher time frame. Let me go to the 4 hour. All right, and if I scroll back, look at this. Look at this. Okay, from a high of 178.85 on the 4 hour all the way down to $4.77. So it is just falling apart. For those of you who don't know much about the weed, marijuana industry sector, it's very weak right now because there's not enough, or wait a minute, there's too much competition, or too many players. There's too many players, so it just keeps driving the price down, and none of them can make money. None of them can make money. The original thought process was that the government would only allow so many people to produce the marijuana to be sold for, mostly medicinal purposes and things like that. But now there's so many people producing it that the cost is so low, none of them can make any money. So Tilray, I'm probably going to end up removing it from my watch list over here because it's getting down in that danger zone now. If it doesn't recover and at least get back up in here, you notice I haven't drawn any lines recently because I'm not trading it right now. I just stopped drawing lines. Once it went under about $10, I'm not really interested in it unless it gets back up in here and shows me that it can make some sort of move. Now I do trade CGC. I've actually had some nice trades on that here recently. Take a look at that. It's Canopy Growth is the actual name of the company. All right, but just like the rest of the weed industry, it's been on a steady decline for quite a while. And as you can see, gapped up, selling off. So it opened at 11.93. It's currently at 11.10. And as you can see by the size of these candles here, the average size candles, this is already a big move for CGC. Somebody who would have played that has already made a lot of money. The options are cheap and it's a high beta name. So when you have a high beta, that means it doesn't take the stock very much to move. And especially if you're playing options, you're gonna make a lot of money really quick. That's one of the reasons I do like to play CGC, but it's starting to get down into this range of I'm concerned. If it goes under 10 bucks, I'm probably not going to want to play it much anymore. You can see this is just, last week or two, and look how much it's dropped. Let me look at the 4 hour on this. Give you a 4 hour view on this. And TOS has taken its sweet time this morning, as usual. Okay. Look at this. Okay. See the big drop? See the big drop? Just like Tilray. Pretty much all the weed names are the same way. All right. See, we have a few more people. Welcome to everyone. We're just got started less than 15 minutes ago. Let's go back and look at the market. We'll look at some Forex stuff here in a little bit. All right, let me switch back to the 30-minute. And zoom in for you. Okay, still selling off. We've sold off back to the 20 simple moving average right here. It's acted as support so far. We opened up at 26.2250 and we're already down to 25.55. All right, so what is that? 45 and 22 is what, 67? Already sold off $67 on this opening candle. Okay, this is extreme volatility that we're in on the market and on a lot of names. I mean, it's not just the market. The volatility in the market causes volatility with these other names. So we're going to definitely keep an eye and see if it loses the 20. Okay, then the next thing is these two wicks right here. If it would lose those, you have a wick here, and then you have our level down here at 24.92.25. Those of you who've been with me for a few sessions, you know what we always do. We look to the left to see if there's anything that would stop us from going a specific direction. All right, these aren't big wicks, but you know it could see a little bit of support right in there, but we'd need to get under there and then underneath here, and then it would probably flush right on down to our 24.92.25 level. So let's do this. I'll leave an alert set right under here. That way we'll know. So if this alert would go off, then we would know. And then I will set one, I'll set one back up here, and then we'll know if we get any kind of significant move to the upside. Because that's really all we're concerned with is significant moves. Okay, so I have these alerts. See where I had an alert set late last night was if we took out this 23.51 level, we probably just would have just straight flushed on down. I mean, big time, big time. But we never got there. Okay, we caught some support there at 23.95.50, and then you can see that's where buyers said enough is enough. This is cheap enough. They overwhelmed the sellers and they pushed it all the way up here to 25.95, and that's when we hit the limit up and trading got halted because that was a 5% move from where we closed during regular trading hours yesterday. Okay, so the first half hour candle is done. So far, the 20 is acting as support, but we don't know if that's going to last or not. I mean, if it's going to last, then we're going to see a significant green candle to the upside. If not, there's a couple different scenarios here. We could end as a resting candle. If it ended up something about like it is now, that would mean that the next candle more than likely would continue down. Okay, if this ends up as a doji or a spinning top, sometimes you can get two, but if you get more than two, then that kind of negates that. All right, but if you get one or two resting candles in a row in the lower 25 to 30% of this big wide-ranging candle, then the following candle you're typically looking at continuing down somewhat of the same magnitude of this candle. Okay, but it's way too early to know that. We got 27 minutes to go on this candle. If this is going to act as support, what we're going to find out is we'll see a big green candle going this way. So we'll keep checking back in. See, we got a few more people. Every few minutes, we get a few more people joining us. If you have any questions or you have anything you want me to look at, just type it in the comments and we will definitely look at it. Okay, so let's look at a few Forex things. Okay, First thing we're going to look at is the pound dollar, GBP USD. All right, we'll see where we're at there. Okay, so I've been trading this a lot this week and have made a lot of pips on it. I made 150 pips on it yesterday on just 2-day trades. Then I took a trade overnight that was a set and forget trade. I put the trade on before I went to bed. I got up this morning right about 5 a.m. I think it was actually about 4:56 in the morning, and I was just hitting my take profit target. I already had it set. So that one was 41 pips. Then I took a scalp this morning, and this was on this downside move right here. Then I took a scalp this morning for 37 pips. So already today, I've made 78 pips of profit on GBP USD. Now, I showed the folks in the Simple Trading Life community why I have been so laser focused on the pound dollar, and that's because of this. Okay, we came up into supply up here, and we immediately started to sell off with nice structure on the way down. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So I've literally just been trading this all the way down. Now there was a demand zone, and I can't remember right off the top of my head. I want to say it was up in here, and I think it was right here where we blew right through it. So there was a demand zone that the sellers went right through it. Because I was looking to go long there, and I did take a trade. I got stopped out on it, and then once it started going back down and forming more structure, I just kept taking and taking and taking trades to the downside. Okay, so this is what you do. You look for this kind of stuff. Sonny, I will definitely check that for you. Give me just a minute. Sonny's got a symbol he wants me to check. Okay, but you guys see why I've been just focused in on pound dollar this week, right? Okay, you see this trend. It's just clear as day. And when you're making this nice structure on the way down, all right, there's really no reason for me to be looking to go to the upside. Now, there was a demand zone, and I'm pretty sure it was right here. There was a demand zone there, and that is where I did try to go long at one point, but I got stopped out because you see this candle here, we just blew right through it, and we continued making structure. In fact, this is a, let me squeeze in here. Okay, this is what happens a lot. So I know the demand zone was like sort of right in here. This candle blew through it. We went lower, and then what did we do? We went back up to retest it from the bottom side, and then look at the sell-off. Okay, you see this? So this is the candle that blew right through it. Then we went lower. Then we came back and retested where that demand zone was. I've already taken the green zone off of there, and then just flushed right away. Okay, so that started telling me right then and there, until something changes, most of your trades should be to the short side. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't try to take a counter trend trade if you think some structure is going to be formed. Okay, you know, like here, like right here, we came into demand, we got a hammer. Right there was a good trade to the upside. Okay, right there. But overall, you can see the trend and the structure is to the downside. Now, we bounced at demand. We started going up, could not sustain it, came back down, bounced up again, and then we had a pretty big flush this morning. That's where I made both of those trades. When I went to bed last night, it was about 12:30. 1 o'clock. So I went to bed somewhere in here. I actually put my stop way up here. Now that seems like it's really high, all right, but I knew we were in demand, and I knew I was going to go to bed. So I put my stop up above this wick over here and went to bed, and I had a profit target I didn't even know it was 41 pips. I just, I knew where I had a profit target set. And then when I woke up this morning, it was somewhere around here. And then we started to flush. We took out whatever my profit target was. So that trade was over because that was a set and forget trade. Then I immediately put another one on and caught 37 more pips. So I got 41 on the initial one and I got 37 more. And then you see we caught a little bit of a bounce right there. And now we'll see, are we going to continue down or is it going to kind of come back up in here and then go down? All right, so we'll keep checking that. All right, so Sonny wants me to look at CSCO. So let's do that. CSCO. Cisco. All right, this is not a name that I normally trade, so we may get to draw some lines in here, and we will. So for those of you who don't know how I draw my support and resistance lines, you're going to get to see it right now. All right, so what we do is we switch to the 4-hour. I always like to have my support and resistance lines on the chart before we do any sort of analysis. So we go to the 4-hour, then we switch to a line chart. Then we start at current price, kind of zoom in, start at current price and work your way back to the left. Make sure you have your price line tool on whatever charting software you're using. I currently use thinkorswim just for charting. Again, those of you who've been with me for a few live streams, you know that I trade off of Tastyworks right now. I'm trying them out. So let's get started here. But I still use thinkorswim for charting. And so what we're looking is we're going to mark everywhere where there's either a sharp pivot or a big move. Sharp pivot or a big move. And you don't have to be exact. If you're within a few pennies, you're good. All right, so we'll just work our way back. I'm going to go ahead and mark that one. When you see stuff like this, okay, again, you want to see where there was a big move. So the big move was from right here. So that's what we're going to mark. Okay, we're not going to mark this choppy stuff. And we'll come up here, mark that. We're going to go back a little bit. And what is current price? 34.55. We're going to mark this. Definitely going to mark this. All right, there's our high on the 4-hour, 58.05. Now let's go back and see if we can find some stuff lower than price. Price is currently at 34.59, so I'm scrolling back. Okay, no. Now what I can do is I can go to the daily and see if I can go back even further to get lower than where current price is. And we can, right? And we can. So let me find where that's at. Give me 1 second here, guys. Be easier if I just use this to scroll. All right, we don't have to mark them all, and we're not going to, but I do want to get some stuff lower than current price. All right, so I need to scroll in. So sometimes, like on a 4-hour, it's not going to maybe go back far enough. So then I switch over to the daily, and I'll start marking some in. So we have a few more lower price levels. You see what I'm marking? Okay, I ignore the small stuff and just mark in the sharp pivots or the bigger moves. Okay, I would mark this right here. I'm not going to go back too much farther. These last two, here and here. All right, then we switch back to our candles. And then we're going to go back to the time frame that we watch and trade on predominantly. For me, that's the 30-minute. Now we're going to squeeze in. Okay, now you see we've got this big gap, let's call it, between 33.21 and 40.14. And we can tell by the size of the candles that Cisco typically is not moving that sort of a range over a day. Okay, so now what we can do is we can take the 30-minute and try to find something in between, and right there we go. That's how easy it is. And right here, you see where it came up and pivoted, and that's it. All right. I mean, you could maybe mark this one, but it's really not a sharp pivot. Okay, it's not really a sharp pivot. So for now, I'm going to leave that off, and let's go back. Put our candles back on, and there we go. Okay, so now it makes a little bit more sense. You can see that our levels are respected. That's why we use the line chart instead of the candle chart. Okay, the line chart is going to give you much more accurate support and resistance levels. Okay, so here we are today. We gapped up. Where did they gap us? They gapped us right above a support level. We pushed up, we came back down, and now we've sort of lost this a little bit. Okay, so now if we hold, and what do I mean by hold? Means that this candle, which still has about 15 minutes to go, if it closes underneath here, then we held that level, okay, then we would look for more downside. I mean, you could get a retest and then down, which we would call a break, retest and go, or it may just continue to fade. But we've got 15 minutes to go. All right, so this candle could close back up here, or it may close below, so we're just going to keep that in mind. We'll keep watching. Sunny, I hope that you can see these levels here. So the levels above are 37.05, 40.14. Currently, we're right around the 34.88 level, and then levels below are 33.21, 32.48, and 32.18. And one below that's 31.48. So that gives you levels. So Sunny, I hope that gave you some information there. And let's look at the bigger picture while we're here. And for those of you who are new, what we do before we ever take a trade is we want to know what the bigger picture is. So on the monthly, big red. Okay, this is a monthly candle. Okay, actually 3 months in a row we've been red on Cisco. So you see right up here, it rolled over, sold down. And so what we have here is a drop, base drop. Okay, that's pretty significant. Let's look at the weekly. This is what we do in the Simple Trading Life room when we're evaluating any potential trade. Okay, so we're red and we have a wide-ranging candle. So at one time, this candle was green up here at 40.14, and then it has sold off. Okay, you notice that. So we have a big red on the monthly. We have a candle that was green and now is red on the weekly. Let's look at the daily. All right, let me look at the daily. So on the daily, we're red as well, and we've actually had 3 red days in a row, but we gapped up and we're going red. It's got to get clear back down here, all right, because this is where it closed yesterday. It has to get clear back down here, but you can see red, gap down, then we gapped up, but we're red currently. And what is the overall trend? The recent trend, it's to the downside, right? Okay, now this is that basing that we've seen. Okay, we're on, excuse me, we're on the daily. So this was a range on the daily chart. This was a range, and then we started to drop. Let me go back to the weekly. Okay, here's the weekly. All right, drop, base, drop. That's what we saw in the monthly. You'll notice every time frame we go up, it cleans it up. Okay, drop, base, drop. Does that make sense to everybody? And then we can go back to the 30-minute. So confluence is to the downside on Cisco. Okay, to the downside. Here was yesterday's action. Here was 2 days ago. Here was 3 days ago. So 3 days ago, we kind of went down and went back up. Then 2 days ago, it was pretty much down all day. Yesterday, it was kind of up and down. Look at that, kind of whipsaw, and then ended on a down note. And then today, we gapped up like the rest of the market, but so far, price action has been negative. So you see it came down. It's retesting this level at 34.88 right now. We broke through. It's coming back to retest. So is it going to push higher, or is it going to be a break, retest, and go? We'll know that probably in the next 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, awesome, Sonny. Awesome. All right, so let's go back. None of our alerts have went off, but we're just going to take a look. All right. Well, we just had an alert go off, and we're on there. Okay, so we are having a strong move off the 20. Remember, I put an alert right here at the 2601.50 level, and that's the alert that just went off. I said if the 20 is acting as some serious support, we'll see a big green candle. Okay, that's what we've got, and we came right up to this level. And as you watch it in real time, you can see how this level's being respected right now. It keeps hitting it and bouncing down, hitting it and bouncing down. All right, when you see that in real time, you know that the levels are accurate. If you would just come to the chart later, and let's say this candle ends up way up here, you won't have known that this level was respected on the way up. But you can see right now it is being respected. Okay, so we flushed down to the 20, and the 20 gave us support. This was our opening 30-minute candle. So far, we've pushed up. We still got about 9.5 minutes to go. A lot of things can change. All right, is this going to be major resistance and push us back down? And do we end with a shooting star, which would show momentum to the downside? Or is it going to end up as a green candle up in here, which would be taking out like 50% of this candle? So if we would close above 50% of this candle with a green candle, well, then we start looking at more potential upside. Okay. All right, let's see here. Just making sure nobody has any questions or wants me to look at anything specific. So let's go back real quick, and then I want to look at some other Forex names as well. Let's look at GBP USD again. Okay, so we came down here, we caught some support, starting to go red again. We'll see if it continues to sell off and continues the downtrend. What I was really looking to see was it going to come back up into this demand area. I can take this off now. Okay, this demand area is over. Here's where it caught. All right, we came down into demand, we got the bounce, but it wasn't a very big one. Then we came back down in again, we got another bounce. Then we've sold off now below, and we came back up, and we almost got up into it. That's what I was coming back to see. Were we going to get back up in here and then sell off? It could just sell off right from here, but that would be typical. You see this right in here. Once we've broke through it, now you're going to look at this as a resistance area. All right, so I'll leave this green shaded area on there for now. But in reality, as a demand zone, it's done. Okay, it's done now. Usually you can take it off after the first bounce, definitely after a second bounce. So that was your first bounce. This was your second. Let me show you on a bigger time frame. I want to show you on a bigger time frame. Okay, so where did it come from? Where did that zone come from? It came from over here, and I'll zoom in on that in just a second. So you can see that once it left that level, it went up and went all the way up here, came back down. Okay, it's forming some supply zones up here that will eventually, well, we already tested this one. I showed you that's where I started getting involved with the pound dollar on the way down. Okay, but this is the bigger one. One down here and one here. All right, so it came all the way up here and then came back around. You see it comes back down and tests demand. So where did it come from? Let me show you. All right, The best areas of demand, and it's not the only place, but the best areas of demand are going to be on a drop, base, rally. And that's what we have here. See this? Drop, here's your base, and then you rally away. In fact, it rallied way up here. That's what created the demand. That's what created it. Okay, down here, same thing. Drop, base, rally. This zone will probably be much stronger than this one because look at how price left. When price leaves that aggressively, that tells you how aggressive the buyers are down here. All right, there was an imbalance down here. There was many more unfulfilled orders for the buy side than the sell side could stop. Now that does not mean, again, I say this all the time, I want people to understand this. That does not mean there were more buyers than sellers, because every single transaction in the stock market has one buyer and one seller. So it's incorrect to say that there's more buyers than sellers, because you have to have one of each to make this move. But what there is there's more unfulfilled buy orders down here than sell orders. So you have a lot of aggressive buyers that think that this area in the market is a value. They think that price is cheap here if they're a buyer. So they get super aggressive, and the sellers, okay, the sellers are like, this isn't really worth fighting for right here. Okay, because sellers, they're going to be more aggressive the higher price goes. And I'm talking about institutional type sellers, banks, hedge funds, prop desks, sometimes big players, whales that are trading millions of dollars at a time. Not in one transaction, okay? Not in one transaction. But they would have multiple layered orders in if they were trying to trade millions at once. Okay, but does everybody see that here? Okay, so it was a drop, base, rally away. So that creates this zone. And then this was a drop, base, rally. Okay, this is still a nice rally away. And that's what created this. Now, if I go back and squeeze it in again, go back and squeeze it in. I might have to squeeze it in some more so you can see it. Okay. All right, then we came back to it, we bounced up, and now we've broke below it. Okay, so we didn't get the bounce we thought. I thought we were going to get back up to here at least. You see this congestion area over here? I thought we would at least get up to here, but we didn't. The sellers are very strong. And where did I start looking to go short? Okay, here was supply that was created by a rally base drop. That's what created this zone. Okay, exactly the opposite of what creates demand. Rally base drop. Okay, we moved away pretty significantly. And then look at this. I showed this on the last live stream. Big move up. And what happens is retail buyers, they wait until the move is almost over. I mean, they don't know it's over because they're not looking at the right things. And they start buying. Look at this, how the candles got bigger as we got closer. I'll squeeze in. Okay, look how they actually got bigger as we got closer to supply. That's retail traders coming in. They're trying to, kind of get in on the move, but they're getting in way too late. And big money is just waiting right here. And look what they did. At one time, this was a huge green candle right up into supply, and then bam, just sold it away. So this is where I started getting into the short side. Once it got back up here, the very first touch, I'll squeeze it back in. The very first touch of what we would call this a fresh, because it's never been tested, supply zone is a great place to go short. The very first test of a strong, fresh demand zone is a great place to go long. So hopefully everybody understands that. So then where did price sell off to? Okay. Price sold all the way off down to this demand zone. Now there was some demand on the way down, some like lesser levels of demand, and it just blew right through it because that's how strong the sellers were. But it got down here, took a bounce back up, and now it's coming down, retesting, and if I had to venture to say, it's probably going to continue to go lower. All right, but we'll keep our eye on that. All right, this is a 4 hour, so it shows you a lot cleaner. Here's where it rejected supply. We came over and we just dropped away, kind of based here, dropped away, kind of based here, just continuing down. Now, when price comes back up this way in the future, these are going to be areas of resistance to the top side, here and here. Okay? All right, welcome. I see we've got a few more new people. Now let's look at, before we go back to the market, let's look at Euro USD, which is one of the most popularly traded instruments in the entire world. And the reason I want to look at it is, again, I want to show you supply and demand. Okay, still on the 4 hour. I don't think it lets me squeeze in any further. I might have to go to the daily. Give me a second. I just want to show you the bigger picture. Whoop, I went way too far. Sorry about that, guys. Get it back over here. There we go. All right, here's where I wanted to get it to. Okay, you see again, where they're created, supply, supply. Now look at this. This level here, look how far it moved away. Okay, then it came down here. It's created some demand. We'll eventually get back down there at some point. Came up here, created some demand, and went all the way back up. First touch, you see this? First touch of this fresh, strong supply, and what did it do? I'll squeeze in for you. First touch, boom. Huge sell-off. And look at all this strength coming up, right? Look at all this strength. And again, what happens as we get closer? You notice how price accelerated into it? That's where the retail people get involved. They see this. Back here, they're not convinced. Okay, yeah. Then they see something like this and they're like, oh yeah, maybe I should get in. Then it comes up here and you see this. This is a rally-based rally. That's what's creating this demand. Okay, rally-based rally. But from here on up, this is where retail people are starting to be like, oh yeah, I got to get in on this, man. This thing's going up. And in their mind, they're thinking it's going to go up forever. They start getting in. And then it gets right up here to supply. As I just showed you, first touch, boom, sells it right off. How does it sell off so aggressively? Retail traders are on the wrong side of the equation. There's way more unfulfilled sell orders up here than buy orders. And these sellers, they're institutions, okay, they're ready to be aggressive. And then it freaks out the retail traders. They start selling off. Their stops start getting hit. And then price just, as you can see, look at that, just flushes away. And it goes right down to this demand zone. Okay, it came through, came back up and held. And currently it's pushing its way through again. So we did get a bounce here, back up to here. Actually back up to here. And now it's coming back down through. So this one I can remove. Okay, I'm going to remove it right now because it has now, it's no longer fresh. Let me remove it. All right, so the next area of demand isn't until way down here. Now that doesn't mean that on the way down, we might not hit levels and kind of bounce up here, hit a level, you know, like right here, bounce up here, so on and so forth. Okay, putting in normal structure. But I just wanted to show you guys how effective supply and demand is. We use support and resistance to take the smaller trades in between. Okay, and unless you're a real long-term trader, unless you're really a long-term trader, all right, this is the daily chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks of trading. A lot of people aren't that patient. Now, professional Forex traders, they might be that patient. But let me tell you, that was 0,782 up to 1494. Give me 1 second. 1494 minus 0,782. That's 712 pips in 2.5 weeks. So in my room yesterday, I was kind of giving one of the traders in our Simple Trading Life community just sort of a general idea of what professional Forex traders look for. So on scalps, 10 to 12 pips is normal. If it's 15, they're happy. If it's 8, they can live with that. Day trades, they're looking for 15 to 25 pips on an individual day trade. Now, they're going to take several of those during a day. Shorter swings, which, kind of like 1 to 2 days, 60 to 100 pips. Medium swing trades, so you're talking about several days to maybe a week. Now they're talking 125 to maybe 250 pips. And then when you get to the longer swings, 2 to 3 weeks like this one, this is exactly what they're looking for. They're looking for 250 to 500 pips or more. So what did we just say? That was 700, right? 712, I think. 712 pips in 2.5 weeks. That's a big move. All right, but a lot of guys, a lot of retail guys, even if you're smart and you understand, what they'll do is they'll trade level to level on the way up. They'll scalp and day trade it on the way up. All right, and then when it gets up here, if they know what they're doing, they change from a long bias to a short bias. And now they're looking to play it back down to this demand. All right, so that's how it works. All right, let's go back and look at the market. We've looked at Forex for a little bit, and we can go anywhere you guys want. Let me get back to the 30-minute. See where we're at. Okay, so you see how that candle just ended, our second 30-minute candle. It was way up here green. In fact, when we left, we were testing the 2601.50 area. It held. Okay, right now we're testing the 2575.50 area. So let me squeeze this in for you. All right, so we broke up here, we resisted at this level. Okay, we've come back down and now we're testing this level. So is this going to hold? Is this going to kind of be a break, retest and go this way? Or is it going to start to fade down? If it starts to fade, we also have to worry about the 20. As you can see, the 20 has acted as support this morning. All right. Now the 20 is not going to be as strong as the 200, and the 20 typically isn't as strong as our levels, but sometimes you'll see it hold for a while. Okay, you can come back through like right here, came back up, bounced it back down. Over here, right up to it, bounced it back down. Right here, came up to it, bounced it back down. So it will act as support and resistance. It's just typically not as strong as your levels, definitely not as strong as supply and demand. Let me check your comments, see if anybody has anything. Okay, then we're going to just keep looking at some different names. And what I'm going to do, let me move this alert up here. All right. Because what we would do is if it started to fade, if it broke here and then broke here and then broke here, we could really start to see it drop. So I move that one up and I'm going to put another alert above this candle. You guys get to see how I use my alerts. Okay, so now I got one above this candle and below both of these wicks here. That would tell us, see, we went inside, wide ranging, inside candle, and now we're currently inside of this candle. So those of you who understand candlestick trading, trading price action only, if you had nothing else on the chart, you could trade. And I used to do that several years ago. Naked charts, just candlesticks. You can trade just strictly price action. I believe support and resistance, supply and demand, and throwing trend lines on here helps you visually understand what price is doing and where it might be going. But you don't necessarily need them. I mean, you can trade. I know many people that make good money and they literally just trade the candles. All right, but what you're looking for here is for one side or the other of this candle to get taken out. If it doesn't, there's really not a high probability play. Okay, if it does, one way or the other, then we know what we're looking for. Let's just say it's to the downside. Okay, if the bottom of this gets taken out, then we're looking for the bottom of this to get taken out. Okay, then our next level would be these two wicks. Okay, and let's just say it happened on this candle. You would start to see this candle become a big red candle. All right, I didn't mean to do that. Let me take that off of there. All right, you would see this start to become a big red candle. We had it play out a couple live sessions ago where I showed the group how big candles are formed, and about a half hour later, one was formed. Okay, so if it starts taking these out, then you look to the left. These would be the next ones. If you could get below here, this would be the next one. If you could get below here, this would be the next one, so on and so forth. And it may happen over a couple of candles, right? Because you're going to run out of time. So maybe this one gets down to here, and then the next one starts to form, and then it gets down to here, then the next one starts to form, so on and so forth. And it works both ways. It can work to the top side. So if you take this out, okay, what's your next area of resistance? It would be opening price. If you got above that, then it's this wick. If you got above that, let's look to the left. Okay, so if we got above this, this is the next one, and that would be a big one, right? Because that's a big, tall topping tail, shows us a lot of selling pressure, a lot of aggressive sellers, and it's also confluent with this 2658.50 area. So if it went up and we got above here, we know that we could probably catch some pretty good resistance right up here. Might only be temporary, right? You could come up here, bounce off, come back down, and then go right back up through it. But you just got to know these things. You got to be able to visually identify what are my sticking points or what are my opportunities, right? So like here, let me squeeze in here and show you how this was an opportunity. Okay, those who are in my room, they know that one of my favorite things to trade are hammers and shooting stars. Okay, break, retest, and go patterns, things like that. So see this big shooting star right here? At one time, this was a big green candle. So it was green, green, big green, right up into resistance. It sold off and it formed a shooting star. The folks in my room, and hopefully you YouTubers who are following us now, you'll learn this, that when this candle, the bottom of this candle gets taken out, so in this case, it would have been 2564 even, because the bottom of this candle is 2564.25. When you're one tick below there, you can go short and then look at the move that happened. Look at this, all the way down to here. Does that mean you're going to take it all the way down there? Probably not, especially in this volatility. But if you caught like this, if you just caught that move, all right, 2564 down to 2523.25. If you just caught that, that's $40. That's a $40 move just from there to there. Now it continued to sell off. All right, so you could have had profit targets. Maybe the bottom right here, maybe that was take profit 1. Okay, the bottom of this wick could have been take profit 2. And then maybe if you, I don't normally have 3 targets, but If you had a third target, it maybe could have been this level. In this volatility, it's hard to stay in a trade that long because you can see it is whipsawing. These tails, these are green candles at one time, big green candles, and then they sell off. All right, you guys see that? So that's one of our trademark entries. You had to move up, you bounced off a resistance, we formed a shooting star, then you look for the bottom of this candle to get taken out, and then you gotta have take profit targets. You gotta know where you're looking at exiting. All right, but you can see the move that it led to. All right, I just wanted to show everybody that. Okay, so here's where we're at currently. Let me squeeze it back in a little bit. Here's where we're at currently, right here. So we're testing the 20 again, right? And if we can break and hold, and then we're looking at taking out wicks. If we start taking them wicks out, price will start accelerating down. Then it has to take these two out. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody who's listening. RJ, you want to look at Facebook? We'll definitely look at Facebook. Let's do that right now. Okay, and I'm going to have to add some lines on Facebook, aren't I? Let's do that before we do anything else. 4-hour line chart. Go to current price. Start and move back to the left. Make sure you have your price line tool. And we know we need one right here. Okay, this was a strong move to the downside. We're going to eliminate this one. And why am I eliminating it? Okay, because there's nothing in there for me to have it in there. This one we're going to adjust. We're going to move it right here to the top of this strong pivot. All right, we're going to remove this one. I haven't adjusted my lines on Facebook in several days. I typically do it about every 2 to 3 days on things that I trade a lot. I don't trade Facebook a lot. Okay, this one up here, I would just, I'm going to adjust it, move it up a little bit, right up here. This one can be removed. So you guys are watching me clean up my chart. This one can be removed right here. Price isn't respecting these levels that I'm removing. So if they're not respecting levels over a 2-3 day period, you just remove them. Okay, and the rest of these look pretty good. This one I'm gonna adjust it. I'm going to move it right up here because you can tell that was a basing area right there. Okay, now where's price at? 162. So I want to see if there's anything below 154.41 that we need to put in. So I need to go backwards. Anything below 154. Yep, back here. So we need this. That's going to be a strong level. You see, it's been respected several times right there. And let me squeeze in a little bit. Makes it easier. We need one here. We got to put one in right here. And we need one down here. 123.72. Okay, so now we're good. Now we switch back to candles. Go back to the 30-minute, which is what I watch. Now when you put your lines in, use the 4-hour and then go back to whatever time frame you like to trade. I don't care if that's 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever you like to trade. I predominantly trade off the 30-minute, so that's what I look at. So then you come back. Now you start looking, okay, just like we did the last time. Now we're on the 30-minute. This is a pretty big area, 154 up to 178. We know Facebook doesn't trade that kind of range in a normal day. Just look at the candles, right? Look at these candles. So on the 30-minute now, we can look and see if we need to add a line in. And I would say right here is a perfect place, and right here. Now we go back. You want the most recent. You want the most recent price action. Now look at that. Look how clean that is. You can see where the levels are being respected. Look at all this right here. We just added this, and we just added this, and you see how they're being respected. Everything else was based off of the 4-hour, but because you want to look at your normal range and the normal size of your candles, okay, and if you've got a $24 range and you're normally, this instrument is normally trading $5 a day, well then there's no sense in having a $24 range here. Does that make sense? So then that's when you're on this, like say a 30-minute here, you can go ahead and clean it up and add a couple in based on recent price action. Watch again, when I go to the line chart, I want you to look. Okay, see this? Sharp pivot, big move, and then we starting to pivot here, and it was respected here, and it was respected there. So we know that that's a strong level. Up here, not only is it a sharp pivot, then we had a nice move down, and if you go back through here, you can see where prices respected it. Okay, so we knew that was a good level. All right, that's how we chose those. Just trying to show you how I pick those levels and then why they become so accurate. All right, so here we are on Facebook. Let's look at the bigger picture. So what are we doing on the monthly? Big red candle. Big. And we had shooting star. Okay, now I am not a long-term trader. Okay, I am not a long-term trader. If you are, look what you could have had. If you're a long-term trader, you see this shooting star right here. Okay, it doesn't matter what time frame. The rules apply no matter what time frame you're trading. So you would have entered one cent below here. Although you probably would have got stopped out, you see this? But a lot of long-term traders, and this is one of the reasons I don't trade long-term, they'd put their stop clear up here above this wick. To me, that's a lot of risk. That's a lot of risk. All right, but I'm just showing you because I know there are some long-term traders in here. You could go low below here. Now, let's just say you put your stop here, you get stopped out, well, price goes up here and then it reverses back down. You just re-enter when it goes below here again. There's nothing that says that you can't get right back into the trade. All right, now these are monthly candles. Look at this. Look at that sell-off. Once it started down, it's just continued. All right, so that's the monthly. Let's go to the weekly. Okay, weekly shows us a little, that's where, this is that big wick on the monthly candle. See where it popped up? That's that big wick. We're on a weekly now, all right? But look at on the weekly, we just keep dropping. So we're red on the weekly, we're red on the monthly. Okay, we're gonna look at the daily. We're gonna see where were we yesterday. Here's today. Yesterday, red, almost a shooting star. All right, so if we don't take the top of this out, the bias, and you can see it, the bias is still down. If you don't take this out up here. So if you're somebody who's trading this, I would be setting an alert here, and then I would be setting an alert just under here. Because right now you're an inside candle on the daily, and this is almost a shooting star. This is a bearish candle. And what is our trend right now? It's obviously bearish. It's obviously bearish. We've just seen it, right? Red on the monthly, red on the weekly, red on the daily, and currently we're a red spinning top, which is a candle of indecision. So makes sense, right? So see, right here was a red spinning top. What did we do the next day? Gap down. Even though it was green, that was still a negative day, right? Again, that's how you can get deceived. You can look at this. You want to know overall context. You look at this candle and somebody's going to say that's a green candle, but yeah, but look, you gapped down from there and you never made it back up here. So that was a negative day. Then we gapped down again. Then we had a little rise right up here to resistance, and then it's been going down. Now we gapped up today, but so far we're red. We have not been able to get out of the range of this candle. Let me give you some levels just so you'll have them. Okay, levels to the upside, 170.24, 178.36, 191.74. Levels to the downside, 154.41, 144.17, 138.03. Okay, so RJ's asking, wouldn't the bias on almost everything be down right now? On a lot of things, absolutely. Okay, why? Why? Because the overall market's down, right? And we know that 80 to sometimes even 90% of other names, typically, unless there's a news catalyst, earnings, takeovers, mergers, acquisitions, those kind of things, unless something like that happens, 80 to 90% of the names in the market are going to be doing what the market's doing, right? Now, if we look today, all right, here's the daily on the market. It's green, right? Pretty significantly green. But if we go back to Facebook, it's not. Right? So you just want to be careful. You don't want to overgeneralize. That's why we look at the big picture individually. Okay? We're red. We're red spinning top. Even though the daily on the market is pretty big green. But yes, most names are going to be following the overall trend of the market. And there could be blips in there, you know, like over here, this is earnings, that's what these are. And then this is probably their next earnings. Yep, their next earnings are on April 22nd, just so you know. We're right halfway in between it right now. Okay. Let's look. We haven't looked at gold today. So here's GDX continuing to sell off. Isn't that crazy? We've talked about this now for about a week or more. You know, typically when the market's bad, gold is strong. Not this time. Not this time. Gold has been selling off. Typically, let's just say this is the market. Gold would be doing exactly the opposite. It'd be going up. But gold has actually been dropping. So that was GDX, the miners fund. Here's gold, the GLD, the ETF. Okay. Selling down. It's actually already filled the gap. So it gapped up here and has sold down and looks like it wants to go lower. Next level below is 146.54. Let's look at Google. All right, here's Google. Gapped up, sold down, kind of whipsawing, but basically, look, the trend is down on Google. All right, so we just had an alert. I think the market is dropping. This is, yep, there we go. This is why I use alerts. You see that? So we just took these two wicks out. You notice how price accelerated? We broke the 20. We took this wick out. Then we took this wick out. Now where do we know our next potential sticking point is right here. Okay, right here. So if you want, you can put an alert in here. And then we'll know if price continues down, okay? But we just talked about it. The first hurdle was getting through the 20, we did. Next hurdle, this wick, we did. Then that next wick, and you can see it kind of bumps price down, gives price a little acceleration. Now these wicks are the next thing that it needs to get through. Excuse me. Okay, we can watch it for a second here and see what happens. And then RJ, to follow up on your question too, when the market itself is dragging a lot of things down with it, what could you do to find some diamonds in the rough? Look for the few names that are strong despite the market, because they'll stick out like a sore thumb. That very first week of the market correction, if I remember right, I think I posted it in our Simple Trading Life room. There was it was Market Watch or Live Squawk or somebody like that had put out that week there was only like 7 names in the it was either in the Dow or in the S&P, I can't remember which. There was only 7 names that were positive. So you look at those names, and it told a story too, because I can remember like 3 of the 7 were pharmaceutical names. It was like Gilead, Regeneron, and I can't remember the other one. And then a couple of the other ones were in the same sector. All right, so that's how you can find what I call diamonds in the rough that are going against the market, or vice versa. If the market is going up and it's taking 80 or 90% of the names with it, then you do the exact opposite. Look for the few names that are down. Why are they down? And it doesn't make sense that you can make an educated, highly probable, highly profitable trade going against the grain. So I know a lot of people made money on Gilead and Regeneron that first week of the market correction. It was easy for them to identify it. They knew, hey, here's a couple of pharma names, and I think there was one other, but I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And they played those names, and I saw, like people I know made tons of money on those names. They just let everybody else, hey, you guys can fiddle around with the volatility on everything that's going down. We're going to trade these few that are going up. Okay. All right. So we just ended that candle. You see, we just ended that candle. We were talking about how do you form big candles? Well, that's how you do it. Remember, we were clear up here. Then we took out this, took out this, took out this. That's how a big candle is formed. Right now, this candle here, we're going to look at, are we going to get continuation? Or is this candle going to try to retrace, maybe come back up here to the 20? If it does, then you look to see, does the 20 give resistance? It could end up being another resting candle. Could be. All right, right now, what's our trend today? Okay, last night it was up. So far today, it's down, right? You see this green candle in here, don't let that confuse you. You should start looking at the overall context of what's going on. What is the overall context today? Right now, it's down. That can change, but right now, it's down. Anybody who's new in here, I'll show you in just a second. Give me 1 second here. I was just making sure nobody else had a question right now. I'll show you 1 second why, for the most part, we have not had any sort of bullishness in the Simple Trading Life community, other than counter trend trades during the day, scalps. Okay, again, I've showed you guys this before. Okay, here's our all-time highs, which was on February 19th. And look where we're at now. As of last night, this will blow you away because it gets bigger almost every single day. So we went from 33.9750 on February 19th to last night we hit 23.9350. 33.9750 minus 23.9350, $1,004. $1,004 that we are down in the span of less than a month. Okay, so I always ask this question of the traders in my community. It's common sense. What about this chart? What about this chart gives you any reason to have any sort of long side bias in any kind of a longer term? And I'm talking about, when I say longer term, right now, because of the volatility, that could be a day or two. Okay, why would anybody try to swing trade this to the long side right now? And there's people out there doing it. Okay, one of these times they'll eventually be right, but how much money are they losing in the process? I see people on Twitter over and over and over again. Okay, time to go long. Bottoms in. Buy the dip. Okay, they've been saying it the whole way. The whole way down, they've been saying it. They'll eventually be right, but how much money are they going to spend until they're right? And so we talk about that all the time in our room. Would you rather be right or would you rather be profitable? I'll take profitable any day of the week. And if you're profitable, you're probably right a fair amount of the time. But what I mean about would you rather be right or would you rather be profitable, these are people that just keep saying the same thing over and over again, even though it doesn't play out. And I don't understand how the people who follow them continue to put confidence in them, because the same people, and there's a handful of them, have been saying it the entire time from way up here. Okay, we get here. They were like, buy the dip. Then we get down here. Buy the dip, bottoms in, then we get down here. And then this really made them overconfident. You know, one of the people that I follow and I know, when this happened, he was, oh, I told you, we're going up, we're going to 3260, blah, 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 blah. Then we hit this, he changed. Then we hit here and it was right back to, well, we're not going to go to 3260, we're going to go 3230, and then big flush. And at 3105, which was way up here, he told his followers to go long. I told the people in the Simple Trading Life community, and any of the ones who are watching this, they know I have said all along, be very, very careful with any type of a long side bias, because there is nothing about this longer time frame chart that says you should have it. That can change, right? And how does it change? We talk about this each session. All right, so right now we're going lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This was an equal high, lower low, equal high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Okay, we're just moving down. So what will change our overall bias on what we would look for? Okay, you can trade either way any day, up or down, on any given day. We're talking about a market bias here. The only thing that will change that is if we start going higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. When we start to see that play out, then you might start to say, okay, now we start looking at more long plays than short plays overall. Okay, so back here, I kept telling the folks in my room, we need a break and hold above 3105. We couldn't do it. We could not do it. And then we got this big sell-off down to here. Okay, this is just structure. This is where using the basics can really help you. Because all those folks that keep telling everybody to go long, when they see this stuff, they see this, they see this, they see this, they see this, okay? And they're saying, go long, the bottom's in. They're failing to realize that the market doesn't move in a straight line, right? We put in structure. So here we went down and we based. So this was a drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop, okay? Then we started putting in more normal structure. Structure typically slants up and then down, 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 slants up and then potentially down. We don't know yet. That's what normal market structure does. And I told the folks in our community what really made me nervous. And I had called it way up here. I said, it feels like the market is about to roll over and start heading down. Again, the people in my room know. I could go back and find the posts up here. All right, up here. You see this trend line. Okay, see that trend line up there. But I said it felt like the market was going to roll over and go down. But what made me nervous that we were getting into something unusual was the fact that we weren't putting in normal structure. We were putting in these drop, base, drop, base, drop, base, drop. You see how they're sideways instead of slanting up? Okay, that's unusual to have, 3 or 4 of them in a row. And I called it out in the room. I said, to me, you look for things that are out of the ordinary. That was out of the ordinary. And sure enough, as you can see, we keep accelerating to the downside. Here, this is just structure. Accelerate to the downside. Structure. Accelerate to the downside. Structure. Now, if we continue lower, that's all this is going to be is normal structure. Even though that's a big move. That is a big move, but in comparison to this entire move, right, it's just structure. Unless, okay, so now let's just say I'm going to make up a hypothetical. Let me scroll in. All right, now let's say that this only comes back to here and then goes up to here. Then comes back to here, then goes up to here. Then comes back to here, then goes up to here. All right, if we start seeing that, that totally changes the game. That totally changes the game. Because now price action is telling us, without a shadow of a doubt, if that happens, that the momentum of the market is changing or has changed. But that's how you just use the basics to be able to know this stuff. All right, let's get back to the 30-minute. And we'll probably be on here another 20 to 30 minutes. All right, here we are on the half hour. Scroll in a little bit more. Here we are in the half hour. This is our action for the day. Opening price level. Down, up, down. Excuse me. Down, up, over, down, up. It's pushing back down right now. Remember what I said, until you get over here, there's no concern in my eyes that you're going up unless you take this back out, because we just broke below it. It was support. Now we broke and held, meaning we got to close below there. Now it's pushed up, but it didn't even get all the way there. And it's trying to push back down. All right, we just had an alert on Tesla. Let's go look at it real quick. That's why I use alerts. Okay. Tesla broke this level. That's where we had the alert set, right? This is where we had the alert, 545.71, and we had it just below there. We've broke it. It's trying to go lower. All right, we know 507.87 is the next level, but let's look to the left. Let's look to the left. Is there anything, we'll have to go to a higher time frame. Is there anything that could stop us from getting to that next level? We look over here. There is a gap, right? So what is the bottom of this? 528.41. Okay, 528.41 could potentially be some support because you have a gap there. I'll scroll in so you can see it. What did I say? 528.41. Right here. See this gap? Okay, gaps are support and resistance until they've been filled. 528.41. All right, so we would have to get below this and then fill this gap. go back over, scrunch it back up for you. And then the next level below would be 507.87. Okay, so that's what we're going to look for. In fact, I'll set an alert. Let's just do that. I'll set an alert at 528.40. 528.40. Why it won't stop there. I'll just set it. Create alert. We want 528.40. That'll let us know that it's starting into the gap. $528.40 is what we want. All right, so we got it. We've got it on there, and now we'll know if it gets into the gap, which it could act as some support. So that's where we're at on Tesla. As you can see, it's already come right back up to the level it just broke through. Got a message. Hang on one second, just answering it real quick. Hey there, Al. I just saw your comments. Let's go back to ES. And we'll bring it in. There we go. Okay, now I want to show you something here on ES. So you'll notice, again, what did I say this morning? So those of you who've been on since the beginning, this wick would be a problem, right? Remember that at the beginning. I said this wick could potentially be a problem. So we came back up with a lot of force, right? Then we get over here, and then look where the top of this is, right in the middle of this wick. That's as high as it can go. You could get resistance anywhere in this wick. This big wick is showing you that all the way down through here, there was aggressive sellers. Okay, so we came back up here, and give me a second. I don't know why my phone doesn't want to stay on. There we go. Usually it does. So when we came back up in here, this is really, okay, this is really somewhat of supply, right? We know that because of how it left the level and because of this big wick. So this is the first touch, and it would make sense that we would sell away from it. Everybody see that? But like I told you before, let me move this over so you can see it. When we first got on here, we were looking at ES. I said this wick and this level could potentially cause some issues for the upside if somebody's looking for upside, because we know that there's aggressive sellers up there. And so far, that's played out to be true. Just look across and you can see right in the middle of that wick is where everything turned around and started moving back down. You can see this candle was green all the way up to the 20. It's now pushing back down. All right, we got about 13 minutes to go. If it ended just the way it is now, that would be a bearish signal, and that would show that we were probably going to continue with momentum to the downside. But 13 minutes, a lot can happen in 13 minutes. This thing could blast up here, or it could fade on its own. And we know that these wicks, that's why I have this alert set, these wicks right here are our next obstacle to go lower. And I don't care which way it goes. I'm not in any ES trade right now. So I don't care if it goes down or goes up. I'm just trying to show you if we continue down, that's the next obstacle they need to get through. All right, we have our alert set so we can look at some other things. Okay, so RJ is asking, he says his 401k is mostly SPY. Would you rebalance to more risk off at this point? I'm not a financial advisor. For anything 401k, long-term, retirement focused, excuse me, just a personal opinion is I think, not financial advice, but just a personal opinion, I think that should always be a little bit more divested. You probably shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket when it comes to something longer term like a 401k or some sort of a retirement account or long-term investing. I think you should try to spread your risk out among many different things. But yeah, I mean, that's just personal opinion, not investment advice. All right. I was kind of hanging around to see if this was going to continue to push down. Okay, so if it got below this candle here, if it gets below this candle, that puts us right in these wicks. And notice where it stopped, right? Once we got into these wicks, that's where this one stopped, and that's where this one went back up. Caught the resistance here, pushed it back down for now. And then if it does take out the bottom of this candle again, it's right into these wicks. It needs to get below those wicks. And then this wick, and then we would be down to this level. And then from there to go lower, you'd have to take out this wick, which is a pretty long one. Okay, what could happen? You could get down here, you're in the middle of this wick, you're at a resistance, or excuse me, a support level. You might catch like a small bounce up and then turn back and try to go through. That's if it's going to continue to move down. Okay. Al, you're looking at the 4 hour, so let me just switch back to the 4 hour. So what Al was asking was, it looked like we got into some supply. Absolutely. Okay, what did we just talk about? This is even on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, we have a big wick here, and on the 30-minute. All right, we have these two resting candles here. All right, so we made a drop, a base. Now this big wick really is even more important than this because it showed how much selling pressure there was right here. Okay, so this is a natural supply area, even though I don't have it drawn in pink. This is a natural supply area, so it makes sense that the first time you test it, you should see a bounce, which we did. How big will that bounce be? We don't know yet. Now on the 4 hour, look at this. It's setting up that it could be a big bounce to the downside. But it has to take out this, then it has to take out this, and then ultimately it has to take out this down here. This one would be a little bit tougher. And who's to say that you don't come down, catch the support here, like I said, come back here and move back down. Oh, this brings up another point. Again, those of you who were here from the beginning, I showed you the trend line. And I said that we had got up above it, but are we going to hold? Well, so far we haven't, right? So far the trend line is holding. See? See right here, we're on the 4 hour right now. That's why you always want to look at some higher time frames throughout the day. So far the trend line is holding, and it would make sense, right? I told you I could have drew it clear back to here. We come down, we come up and test, come down. We came up, we didn't quite get there, came back down, over again, testing. If it rejects here, there's a good chance that we're going to move down at least down into here. But this is a 4 hour candle, right? So this one doesn't close until 1 o'clock. We got over an hour and a half to go. Got over an hour and a half to go. But this is how looking at a higher time frame kind of gives you a clearer picture. Okay, right up into the trend line, pokes above, but now it's rejecting it. I hope everybody can see that. All right, so as of right now, until something changes, that's what we see with price action. And especially if it would happen, I have the alert set, if it would take out the bottom of this, it could start to accelerate to the downside. Because it's all set up. You see the diagonal here? We got the smaller wicks, then you have the bigger wick. Ultimately, for a bigger move, you would like to see these wicks be small and medium size. This is a bigger wick, okay? These ones could really help it accelerate. This one could probably slow it down, maybe even cause it to bounce. Okay, let's go back to the 30-minute. We haven't looked at GBP USD in a while. Let's do that. We'll see what it's doing. Okay, it's doing, remember I told you I was going to leave the green on to see if we did come back up and retest from the bottom, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. I might actually think about going short here. I might actually think about going short. Give me 1 second here. Whoop, I hit the wrong thing. Get logged in. And so we sold off. Okay, we came down here, we bounced. We came back down here, we bounced. Then we broke through. We're coming back to retest. We did actually get up into here. That's why I left the green on so we could see it. And as of right now, right, it's holding. It's not necessarily selling off yet. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put an alert right here. I'm going to put an alert right there. And I'm going to put a note in, go short if this alert goes off. Okay, so if that alert goes off, I'm going to go short. I'll put my stop up here somewhere, and then profit targets to the downside. Let me squeeze it in. Let me go to a higher time frame, because I'll just show you what I'm looking at. Okay, profit targets to the downside, if that happened, would be this level, 1.2435. And then after that, there'd be almost nothing that would stop it. If it broke through here, there'd be almost nothing that would stop it all the way back down to demand at 1.223 down here. So I'm just showing you guys what I would be looking at. I'll go back in. All right, so you see we had a break. This is a 4-hour now. We had a break, retest, and it's trying to push lower right now. And if it trips that, I'll go back to the 30-minute. 30-minute just shows it a little bit clearer in terms of where you might want to enter. Okay, it's almost down there. Just since we've been talking, it's coming back down. But if it trips that, I'm going to look to go low, because look, break, retest, and it's looking like it wants to roll over, right? So if it wants to roll over, then I want to go ahead and ride it. Okay, I'll just ride it down. Okay, I'll look and see what does it do here. That could be a take profit. 2495, 2435. Okay, so that's 50, 60 pips just to there. And then if it would break through there, you're talking about all the way down here to this demand zone, because we already looked on the higher time frame. There's nothing there to really stop it if it breaks through here. It could really then accelerate. And when I say accelerate, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to drop down there in a matter of minutes. I mean, it could take a couple of 4-hour candles, or, you know, that's a big space, right? 2435 to 2231. So that's, if I'm getting that right, that's over a couple hundred pips, right? I always use my calculator. 2435 2,235 minus 2,231. That'd be 204 pips. I mean, even if it did take, you know, till tomorrow to play out. Well, obviously it wouldn't be tomorrow. Today's Friday. But even if it took until Monday or something to play out, 200 pips. And I know, just based on what I saw with the candles, if we get below here, there's no structure. There's no demand. There's just nothing over there that should really stop it from getting sucked right down into demand. Okay? So this could be one profit target, and then this could be a T2. We call them T1, T2. So we'll see what happens there. I've got my alert set. If it goes off, then I know what to do. That's how I trade, right? Especially because I work with you. I work with my Simple Trading Life community, and I do these live streams. And here we go. We're going lower. Look at this. We're going lower. We're about to take this out. This candle was green right up to here, totally caught resistance and now has turned red. And what did we say? Makes sense because that's the overall downtrend. We just took it out, and did you see how it accelerated? When we took out the bottom of these wicks, did you see how it accelerated? Okay, I don't know why it's doing that, sorry. Okay, right there's the bottom of the wicks. Look how much lower we are already. It hit those wicks, and once it got below it, it just like literally bumped it down. I can tell you, about $4 or $5. About $4 or $5 in an instant when it took those wicks out. So that's what we mean by it helps when you take these out. It helps price accelerate. Okay, so we're starting a new candle here. Again, somewhat of a hammer. Okay, you'd like to see this wick be a little bit longer, but that is still a bearish candle when we're in an overall downtrend right now. All right, let me get back. There we go. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they want me to look at? I could stay on another 10 or 15 minutes, and then about that time I'll be heading to lunch. I like to, for these YouTube live streams, I like to stay on about 2 hours, and then we get off. But if anybody has anything, I do want to point out something. So we started the day, we were around 2,600 on the advancers. You see how we're at 2196 now? That's still very extremely bullish, but we're going down, right? We're going down. They're decreasing, which means that the market should be going down too, and it is, right? Because we know that this number is misleading today because of all the gap ups. Okay, we're going to come back to this. I'm going to set another alert under this wick. So if we get under this next one, all right, if we get under that, then we should really get down here fairly easily. Okay, but we had an alert go off on Tesla, so let's see what Tesla's doing. Tesla's flushing. Okay, here's where it opened up. It opened at 595.06, and it's currently at 595.06. It's currently at 525.88. So 95.25, that's $70. It's down $70 today already, and it's still going down. Remember, we had set that alert so we would know if it was really going to continue to flush. Okay, there we go. Yes, I got that alert going off. We got lots of stuff going on right now. We can go back to Tesla in a second. Okay, so we just took out the bottom. We just took out the bottom of this wick. All right, it just barely poked through. I'm not truly at the bottom, am I? Let's see, 25.0875. 25.08. Okay, so there we go. Starting to accelerate right now. Starting to accelerate. So we just took out the bottom of really these two wicks because they're really on the same level. All right, there's my GBP USD. So my alert to go short. I'm going to enter that trade real quick. Just give me 1 second, guys. Then I'll be right back with you. I just want to enter it, get my stop set. Done. Place trade. I'm in. All right, so I'm short on GBP USD right now. And you can see here's ES starting to accelerate. Let me put an alert at this level. This is when it gets exciting, right, guys? When like all your alerts start going off and you know, like we've been calling this out right here live, exactly what price action was likely to do. So we want 92.25. All right, so if this alert goes off, we know that we've made it down to this support level. Let's look at GBP USD. This is when it gets exciting for me. I don't know about you guys, but I like it. There we go. See, rolled over. Rolled over just like I had told you. And I already have an alert set at this support level. So if it gets down here, I'll look to either exit and just lock in that profit, or I'll see, does it just blow right through it? And if it like really like doesn't have any problem with that, then I may just let it go and try to catch all of those pips all the way down to the next demand zone. All right, but just what I talked about, right? Let me bring it up a little bit. Okay, we went down, we came back to retest, so we broke through demand. We came back and retested it. We got into it right here, but you can see the pattern. We were rolling over, and when we took out the bottom of these candles, I went short, and I have a stop up here, giving myself room, you know, just in case it comes back and retests it again. I don't want to get stopped out too quick. Okay, but this would be my first take profit level. Have my alert set. And I do not have a sell order there. I'm going to wait, and if this goes off, I'll probably watch it for a minute or two and see, do we start to bounce? If we do, I'll just lock in profit. Okay? And if we just keep going down through it, then I'll let it go. And maybe I'll move my stop down or even make it a trailing stop at that point to protect myself and try to catch a bigger move. All right? So let's go back over to ES. And I didn't forget about Tesla. We'll go back and look at it too. All right, so ES almost got there. Almost. And it's catching a little bounce. That's why you always say, see this big wick? Remember I said this one would be more difficult than any of these. Why? Because it's a bigger wick. And anywhere in here, you could catch resistance. Okay, so we almost got to this level, but look across. Okay, right here, that's where we're at in this wick, and we're catching a bounce. Okay, you remember me saying that, right? I said we take these out, we'll accelerate down to here. If we take these out, we'll accelerate down to here. If we take this out, we'll accelerate down, but this is our concern for a downside perspective. Again, I'm not in an ES trade. If you're looking for more downside, this is your concern, this big wick, and we caught the bounce right there, slightly above our level, but right deep into this wick. Okay, so it's bounced up, and now what you're going to watch for, okay, is this a temporary bounce? Is this temporary? What do we got? 22 minutes? Yeah, 22 minutes to go on this candle. Is it temporary, and now does it turn around and just continue on down? And if it does, what's your next? Well, this would be your next level. And if it gets through there, the bottom of this wick right here. You get through there, it could really drop. okay? If it gets through here, because if you look over here, there's nothing to stop it. There's nothing to stop it, okay? So then you have this level and this level, well, the bottom of this candle, but then this level down here. So 24.4750, 24.1825. All right, we're going red again. We're going red again. Okay, so right now, today, I've been saying it for almost the 2 hours we've been on. Today, the overall sentiment of the market is down. No matter when we even saw that. Even when we saw that, then we came back, or actually came back to here, then we went down, then what did we do? We came up here, then we went down, down, back up. Now we're starting to push down again. Unless something changes, the overall sentiment of the market, not our sentiment. You got to get out of, as a trader, you got to get out of those habits of like, I am downside biased, or I'm a bull, I'm a bear. You'll be much more profitable if you're neither, right? And you just trade price action. And you use your support and resistance levels and your supply and demand levels to guide you, to know where you should look at exits, put your targets, know areas that, hey, if price starts to reverse on me, I need to get out. Well, in this volatile market, you should be getting out quick. There's a little bit different in Forex, all right? Forex, I showed you, I have a wider stop on Forex. I would never have that in this market. Okay, if I was trading ES today, there's no way I would have any kind of a wide stop. My stops would be really tight. Because if I get stopped out, I can always then re-enter if price goes my way. Okay, I told you we'd go back and look at Tesla. And there we go. Total flush just since we've been gone. Remember what I said? I put that alert in there and I said if we get to this alert, it's very likely that we're just going to flush right on down to the 507.87 level. We've actually already been there, 507.42. So we've been here already. And let me do this. I can't remember if it was a higher time frame we had to go to. It was. Let's go back to the 4 hour and I'll show you what we were gauging. Okay, so it was that gap, right? Remember that? And we put our alert just below here. And we said if we get into that gap and we start to fill it, that we could just flush right on down to 507.87. Back to the half hour. Okay, and one thing I want you guys that are watching to know is that, especially if you're new, okay, give me a second here. I have to get back out of where I was. Sorry, guys. I have to get back to the right screen. There we go. What I want you guys to know is everything we're talking about here, this is all just absolute basic stuff. There's no complexity whatsoever. There's no, this is stuff that's been around since the beginning of the markets, and we just use it to our advantage. Price action, supply and demand, support and resistance. Primarily, those are the only three things that I feel you need. If you like indicators, more power to you. I don't use them, as you can see. I don't use indicators at all. I think they give too many false signals. But if you're comfortable with them, I don't ever tell anybody not to do something. If you're comfortable with something that makes you money, okay, more power to you. I'm just showing you that I don't use anything complex at all. At all. I'm drawing in some support and resistance lines. I'm marking supply and demand zones, and then I'm trading price action. That's it. That's it. Okay, Al, you asked me, am I short ES below the previous candle? I'm not personally in ES right now. I'll go back to it. But I know kind of what you're asking. Okay, so this is sort of almost the shooting star. So if somebody was looking for a scalp, they could have entered right below here. Okay, price went up and then it reversed, came back down. Okay, so the bottom of that candle, Al's already picking up on it, 25.16, so it'd be 25.15.75. Somebody could have entered, and they could have maybe took their first profit target as this level right here, 24.92.25. We've almost got there. Our low so far is 24.95. And what did we say up here? 25.15.75. Okay. And if you got close and price starts to stall out or bounce, you just exit. We talk about that too. Lock in your profit. Lock in your profit. You know, my first, if I would have been entering, I'm not in it. That's what I've been saying all along. I'm not in ES right now, but that would have been a nice scalp opportunity. And that would have been my price target. Really, I would have tried to exit at probably 24.93. Okay, we haven't got there yet. But that would have, you know, I always try to exit just slightly before my real target because I don't want price to get there and bounce in a high volatility environment and eat up my profit. Hopefully that makes sense. Because if you get here, you're going to be up about 22, 23 bucks just from there. Okay? Just from there. If you made it to this level. So if I got close to that and I'm only up 20, 21, 20, you know, whatever, that's good, right? Just take it, lock it in, and don't worry about it getting close and then bouncing and you lose all that profit. Okay, it may get here and break this and continue lower. All right, but in this environment, just, you know, look at these bounces, right? This was a big green candle, and then it ended up clear down here. So you just got to be careful. And right now it's struggling. It's struggling right here. So if I would have been in it out, I probably already would have exited as soon as it got down to that, what did I say, 24.95, 24.96 area, and I saw it starting to struggle, I probably just would have got out, locked in what profit I had, and then looked for the next trade. Okay, I see your comments. Awesome. Okay, so you took 5 points and just got out. Perfect, right? Safe, lock it in, and then you look for your next trade. Then you look for your next trade. Let's go back to Tesla here, and we're going to wrap this up here pretty quick. See, we actually had a couple more people just join us in the last few minutes. If you just joined us, we do this every Tuesday and Friday right here at this channel. So make sure, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and turn on your notifications bell, and you'll get notified every time we go live or we upload a new video. This is a new channel. It's only been up for a couple of weeks. And our whole goal here is to help new, struggling, or improving traders become consistently profitable by teaching you the simple basics of trading. Psychology, strategy, and analysis, primarily. Okay, so we're back here to Tesla. Oh, and if you want to join our community, before I forget, you'll see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Go to simpletradinglife.com. We have two communities. We have our free community, so you would click on the free chat room button, and we have our premium community, which you would click on the premium button, and you can join either way. And we put content in both. Obviously, we spend a little bit more time and a little bit more in depth in the premium community, but many of our members are in the free community and get a lot of value out of it. And these YouTube, everything we put on YouTube is free. So definitely, you know, hang out with us every Tuesday and Friday. We come on for a couple hours at 9:45 a.m. Usually stay on till right about now, you know, maybe noon at the latest. And then we jump off. But okay, so here we are on Tesla. This is what we wanted to see. Was 507.87 going to hold? Right now, it's not. Right now, it's even going lower. Next level below, 476.75. And is there anything, we already know we've got to go to a 4-hour. Is there anything to the left that's going to stop us or slow us down from getting to that level? Let's look over here. Okay. Nothing super significant. We do have a gap. I'm sorry. We do have a gap right here. So the bottom of this candle, 492.17. So we got to get to 492.16, gets us down into the gap. And like last time, we might get down into the gap and just flush right on down to this level. Okay. All right. So ES, my alert just went off, which means we're going lower. We're continuing to go lower on ES. Let me get back to the 30-minute. Exciting times. Okay, here we are. Scrolling a little bit closer. So we're breaking through this level. Again, that would have been a nice scalp for somebody. I would have personally already been out. Okay, so now right here's the next thing we got to get below. This wick. I'm going to put an alert. We might be off before we get down there to test it. Or this level that we're at may hold. I mean, we may hold because we're still in this wick, right? We're at a support level within a big bottoming tail. All right, so it could hold. But if we can get below here, and that's why I set this alert right here, all right, it should accelerate us further down. Squeeze the chart in. Because see here, see this candle? If we get below here, there's not much left to stop us from getting here or even clear down to the bottom of this candle. You see how easy it is to like know what's going to happen? You guys know I hate the word predict or guess or anything like that. We deal in probabilities, but you see how probable all this stuff is as we go through it each time? Those of you who've been with me on every live stream session, and those of you who are in my community, you already know. I mean, this stuff just happens over and over and over and over and over again. And you get to see it with your own eyes in real time. But here's the key, and here's what I want you guys to do. Okay? If you want to become a consistently profitable trader, you got to start to learn to see this for yourself. That's why we do these live streams. That's why we have the community. So people can see it with their own eyes. They can learn. They can start to develop their own skills of knowing, okay, I need to get below this to get me here. Okay, if I get here, this is if you're going short. Okay, if I get here, I need to get below this to get me here. If I get below this, then I need to get below this to get me to the bottom of this wick. All right, you can see it and you see how they play out. You see that? Vice versa, let's just say it got here and then it started to bounce. Well, then you know I got to get above here. And if I get above here, that's starting to tell me that the buyers might be in control. Then if I get above here, if I get above here, if I get above here, you see what I'm saying? It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Renko, yes. And as Al said, yes, I do. I do trade it. I've made a lot of pips this week on Forex because I've mostly been trading Forex this week just to avoid a lot of the volatility. Okay, you don't have to trade. I trade everything. I trade ES, so I trade futures. I trade equities, and I trade Forex. But in this order, I trade ES predominantly. Now this week, I've mostly traded Forex. But in a normal market condition, I trade mostly futures, ES predominantly, then Forex, then equities. Okay, that's sort of, but I trade them all. I trade them all. I trade gold occasionally, ETFs. I don't trade the gold futures. I trade oil occasionally, oil futures, mostly. I will trade some of the oil ETFs every now and again. And I do trade equities. I definitely trade equities. Oh yeah, before I go, we haven't looked at Adobe to see what it's doing. Give me 1 second. Okay, here's Adobe. So Adobe was a trade idea that I put in the room today, the Simple Trading Life in the premium community, and I gave some different scenarios. And as you can see, what we did, spiked up, immediately came back down to opening price level, actually got below it, based, and we've been going down. So really what we formed here is a drop, base, drop. Drop, base, drop on Adobe. So if somebody was patient, which I told, I put it in our analysis, be patient at open. We preach patience. I'm conservative by nature. I know some people like to get aggressive, but patience is what pays. So if you're patient on Adobe right here, look what you could have caught, right? Look what you could have caught. You got a drop, base, drop. And if you would have entered right there, so what is that? 307.73. It's currently at 311. You've already caught $7. So look over here. See the sizes of normal candles on Adobe? Okay. Normal candles. Now look at this. $7. That's big on Adobe. All right. Let's see this candle. This was... yeah, even this candle right here was only a high 303, 289. Oh yeah, this was a good one. This was like $14 there. This one, excuse me, more than 7. This one here is $11. Yeah, so, but I'm just saying from here where you would have entered to where price was like $7. Now you see it's starting to catch some support here at the 20. You notice that? I just had an alert go off. Let me see if I can find it. Got all this action going on. Let's go back over. I think we're catching a bounce. Yeah, we are. Okay, so we're catching a bounce on ES. So that's what I was talking about earlier about when you're scalping, high volatility environment. Remember I said you want to protect against these bounces. That's why you got to know your profit targets. Price starts to stall out and you're not even to them. Just lock it in, just like Al did. Al locked it in. He got like 5 points. Let me get back to where I need to be. Okay, so somebody might say, well, he only got 5 points. Yeah, he got 5 points of profit, and he protected himself against this. Look at that bounce. Vicious, right? So the low, 24.8875, we're already up to 25.22. That's $34. That's a $34 bounce. So that's what you want to protect against, right? And we knew it was likely. I've been saying it all along. This wick right here was going to be difficult to get through. And we're catching this bounce right here at support, which is right in the heart of this wick. And look at it. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything before we wrap it up? Again, check us out at simpletradinglife.com. You can join either our free room or our premium room. And we're here every Tuesday and Friday on YouTube. Hang on a second. I got another alert going off. Just before we go, let's look. GBP, USD. You guys are watching this with me live. Let's see what we've got going on. Look at that. Look at that. What did I tell you guys? Rolled over. Look at that. And now it's even going straight through there. It's amazing. That is amazing. Wow. I'm just going to let it go, right? I'm just going to let it go because it broke through there very easily. We could see a huge flush here. If you guys want to hang out for a few more minutes, we'll just see. I mean, it is going. It is going. So I know a couple of people just actually joined a few minutes ago. I don't know if you were on or not. I put an entry right here below these candles. So what we did is we broke through demand. We came back, we retested. I told everybody in the room, everybody who's been in here knows what I said. I said, it looks like we're rolling over here. So what I want to do is I want to get in when we take out the bottom of these 3 basing candles here. So I entered right there. And then I said my first take profit area, my T1, would be this support level, unless, all I did was set an alert. I did not set a sell order there, unless we broke straight through it, because, let me show you, we have a demand zone down here, and it's possible, if we break and hold this, that it could just flush straight down there. And we already know just from here to here is 200 pips. We already calculated it. From where I entered to here was about 55, 60 pips, and I'm already well past that. Trying to see where I entered. I am currently right where I'm at right now. I'm up 80 pips. I'm up 80 pips right now. So if it would continue on down and get here, obviously, you know, you can do the math. I mean, again, from here to here was like 204 pips. From where I entered to here was just under 60 pips. So if it would flush all the way down, which would be amazing, that doesn't normally happen on a day trade in Forex, that you get that many pips. If that would happen, that would be amazing. If for some reason it starts down and kind of stalls out or something, I might just lock in with whatever I have. Earlier today, before regular trading hours, I had already taken 2 Forex trades, one for 41 pips and one for 37. So I'm already 78 pips up on the day on GBP USD. Okay, we've been talking about it since the beginning. What is the overall trend, right? I started taking trades back here when we came up into supply, and ever since then, the overall trend has been down, okay? And we broke through a supply area or demand area that I've already removed. Then we got to this one, we bounced, came down, we bounced, then we broke through, retested, and go. That's one of my favorite patterns. Break, retest, go. Happens all the time. So that's what you're seeing play out in real time right in front of your own eyes. And you can see how powerful it is. And we knew if we got through here, we knew that the probabilities are high that it's going to continue on. And how do we know that? Let me show you on the 4 minute, or 4 hour. Let me show you on the 4 hour. This is all you got to do. Okay, so here's where we're at, right? I said if we got through there easily, which we did, okay, now come over here and I want to show you. Okay, here is that level we just went through, okay? And what did we have? We had a rally, base, rally, but this base didn't hold, right? And I kind of didn't think it would. And now look, there is nothing here. There's nothing there to stop it from just falling straight down into demand. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's going to happen in a couple of minutes. I mean, it could take hours for it to get down there. These are 4 hour candles, so it took it 8 hours to get from here to here. But you usually fall faster than you gain, if that makes sense, right? You usually fall faster than you gain, but there's nothing here. You don't see any wicks. I think we're below this, right? Yep, we're below this wick already. This is the only sticking point. Now, Can buyers come in at any time and stop it and support it and maybe even cause it to start going the other way? Absolutely. Nothing is 100%, but the probability is that we're going to come on down and test demand at some point because we've got under this wick right here. All right, so if we scroll back over, just wanted to show you how we knew what we were looking for. Okay, and then you can see, and see what I mean about you fall faster than you gain? Okay, that was an extremely strong move to the upside. We got up to supply, but now look what we've been doing ever since we hit supply. Now this was days ago. This was Monday. Okay, look at that. That's a strong move. Any one of these along the way, any one of those would make for awesome scalps or day trades. Any one of these. Look how strong that was, but look how strong we fall away. You fall away, you go down much quicker than you go up. So for me, I'm just wanting to see this thing just bury. Okay, this is my ultimate, but we'll keep an eye on it. And if for some reason it looks like it's going to support or it's going to start to reverse, I can just exit. I'll tell you where I'm at right now. Give me a second. 23. I'm up 100 pips right now. 100 pips from where I entered up here. So I'm going to switch back to the 30-minute. And I'm going to get off here. I'm not going to, obviously, like I said, it could end up being hours for that to play out all the way down. Okay, but we already know there's just nothing over here to stop it. There's nothing there. So hopefully this analysis is helping you guys out. Al, absolutely. More than likely, no matter what, I'll exit this trade today. I don't like to hold over the weekend. Al's asking that question. That's a great question, especially right now. Now, Forex isn't being affected as much by what's going on around the world and with the U.S. markets, but I still don't like to hold over the weekend. I'm more of a scalper and day trader, and I occasionally swing trade on a short term. 1, 2 days, 3 days would be a long trade for me. Yeah, I definitely will exit this before the end of the day. Definitely. Okay, let me see. RJ, BND, let's look at it. Let me do something here. I'm going to set an alert. I'm going to set an alert here because if price starts moving up, I'm just going to lock my profit in now. I can always re-enter, just what I told you guys. Okay, so if this alert goes off, I'll just lock in my profit now on GBP USD. So let's look at BND. BND. Okay, here we go. BND. Yeah, you ain't joking. Look at this. This is how far down it was yesterday. And then here's where it's at today. Actually, it opened up right here. And look, compared to what it normally does. Well, there's one big candle. But look at all these tiny little candles. And then come over here and look at this. Look at this. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. But you're right. It flushed down. What'd you say, 5%, RJ? Yesterday it was down 5%, and then today it's already up almost 5%. That's how quickly things change in a volatile market. Take one last look at ES, and then we're going to shut this sucker down. I got to go get some lunch. I don't eat breakfast. So lunch is my first meal of the day. Okay, so here's where we're at. You notice we bounced. I'll get a little closer here. We bounced because of that wick over there, right here. We bounced because of this wick. Now this new candle, we're going lower. Now, why wouldn't somebody, I know the folks from my room already know this answer, why wouldn't somebody have tried to go long on this hammer? Does anybody know? I'll wait just a second to see if somebody answers. I'll wait just a second. I'll see if anybody answers. Why typically a hammer, which this is, off of support after a strong downtrend, that would be a buy signal, right? Okay, but the folks from my room for sure know the answer. But why wouldn't have we went long here? Anybody know? I'll wait, and if nobody answers, I'll give you the answer. Just a pop quiz, that's all. Pop quiz. Okay, so far nobody's answering. Okay, Virag, is that how you pronounce it? Patel? He says no support. Okay, he says no support. The reason that we wouldn't be long here is because we haven't taken the top of the candle out. You see where we opened? We never took the top of the candle out. Until you take the top of the candle out, there's no reason to be long based on what we already know price action to be throughout the day. Yes, a hammer is a bullish signal, especially off of the support level here, but only if you take the top of it out. Only if you take the top of it out. Because look at the predominant trend is down, right? So unless we get up here and take this out. Now, if we take this out, you could go long and have a nice tight stop here, and then you start looking. Okay, the 20 could be a target. This price level, okay, right here, this could be a target, the trend line. But we always wait to know for sure what price action is telling us. Yep, Al, you're right. Long-term trend is down. Absolutely. Okay, so we know, again, exactly what Al's saying. Overall, the trend is down. And even though this is a bullish candlestick here, unless we take the top of it out. Now, if we take the top of it out, you absolutely could look at a short, or a scalp. Look at this though. We've got this big wick here. Okay, that can be resistance. We have the 20. That can be resistance. We have this price level. That can be resistance. We have this trend line. That can be resistance. So we would have to be careful one way or the other. All right. Let me see here. No high volume in the next candle. Patel, just because I don't know how to pronounce your first name correctly, I don't trade off of volume as much as other people do. In fact, I've told people before, if I could remove this, I would. On Thinkorswim, if you take it off of here, it just puts it in the background, and I don't like it in the background. Volume can be important in certain cases. If you're trading breakouts, you definitely like to see above average volume when the breakout occurs. That's one indicator that a breakout is likely to continue. But the way we're trading right here, just based off of price action, it's not as important. Okay, not as important. As you can see, and this is going to be typical most days, volume is declining as we go throughout the day. Okay, we did get a little spike up here, right? We were going down, 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 a little spike up when we bounced. All right, but then, you know, so far, and we're still early in this candle. We're not even halfway through. But it's not to say that this won't turn around and go back up and test some of this stuff. It might. But we don't enter until the top of this candle gets taken out. And I would have very tight stops. And you just know where your problem areas could be. Here, okay, here, and here. All right, so if I was scalping, let's just give a hypothetical. It takes the top of this out. If we got up here and price just started to stall on me, I'd just take it. I'd just lock in my profit and be done with it. Okay, if it got through there and got up here and started to stall, I'd do the same thing. I'd just lock it in, take my profit right then and there. Okay, guys, we've been on way longer than I normally do. We usually try to wrap it up right around 11:45. Thank you so much. Again, thumbs up, leave me comments. If there's things you'd like to see in the future, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, and definitely check us out if you haven't at simpletradinglife.com and consider joining our community. We've got two. We've got a free community. And we also have a premium community. So you can go to our website, simpletradinglife.com, and check us out. And hopefully we'll see you in the room sometime soon. Have a great Friday and have a great weekend. We'll see you.